All right, so it is 7:50. I'm at Sandusky Middle School. I was invited as a speaker or a participant in their career fair for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders here as a YouTuber. So, yeah, I'm not nervous, but it's going to be kind of fun. I've never done anything like this before. A friend of mine I used to work with at the call center left to, start her internship here as a teacher. And she's like, yeah, a lot of kids nowadays want to be YouTubers, so she asked me in November, and I'm shaking the iPod, not because I'm nervous, just kind of my hands are cold. But I'm about to go in about another 10 minutes. Found a nice parking spot towards the back of the parking lot because the visitor section was filled up. I even put a note on my dashboard like, hey, I'm a visitor for career fair. Please don't tell me. And I asked the teacher in charge of this, like, I don't want to underdress or overdress. Cause I know, should I wear like a suit or something? She's like, well, we want to make this as authentic as possible. So, pretty much wear what you wear to work. And I'm thinking, well, first of all, I ain't going to roll up in here and mismatch socks, shorts, and like a random t-shirt. So I have jeans, sneakers, Dragon Ball Z t-shirt underneath a light jacket. I was going to wear a hoodie, but it is warmer outside than I thought. But, yeah, I was intimidated because you think maybe there's going to be doctors and firefighters and lawyers here all dressed in suits like, hey, what do? I make YouTube videos for a living. Not that I'm ashamed of that because this is literally how people make a living nowadays. So, yeah. So, wish me luck. I do have my haves and the have-nots banner in my book bag right here. So, hopefully, if I find some paperweights, I'll put that up on the table. I'll take a photo, put it online for you all. But hopefully, I'll make a good impression. I have no idea how to explain the haves and the have-nots to, middle schoolers and preteens. So it's like, if your parents watch it or they don't, check it out on Hulu. So I'm unofficially a Tyler Perry studio agent today, if you will. I give myself a little badge, if you will, to spread the word about the show and increase those ratings. So I will touch base with you all. I know it's early. This video probably won't be up until later today, but there is no Wi-Fi in the parking lot. So once I get inside, after I set up my table, because it doesn't even start until 9 o'clock, but setup's at 8, I'll try to post this online. So wish me luck. I'll tell you how it goes, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, now here is a video I'm happy to record because, I recorded like 6 or 7 haves and have not videos before this one, and now it's just a fun time to reminisce on the events of last week when I went to Sandusky Middle School for their career fair. Now, one thing I wish I would have done, but it's really because of a weak Wi-Fi signal as well as my iPod battery not being reliable that morning. When I was there visiting with students, or should I say students visiting my table there, I was actually surprised because I met with 8th, 7th, and 6th graders, pretty much talking about life as a YouTuber. But despite the fact that my flag had the haves and have-nots, if I had a YouTube flag, I'm pretty sure more people would have recognized the table soon, because I do know a lot of the people that made their way to my table, they were shocked when I said, oh my God, you're the YouTuber. So yeah, but one thing that really shocked me was there were students from each grade that knew about the show, whether they watched it themselves or the fact that, oh, my mom, my grandma, my aunt, or, my family members love the show. That was very surprising. But then again, I really felt old the whole day. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, I didn't get up and explore the other vendors and whatnot. But at the same time, just looking around the gym where the event took place, I feel like I was probably one of the younger people there in regards to, having a table for people to visit. I did talk with about 8 people who came up to my table, asked what I was doing. And then some people after the career fair was like, oh, you're the YouTuber, huh? And, we just talked for a little bit in the parking lot. So I felt like, dang, I feel old. I'm 27 and these kids are, well, kids. But at the same time, I remember being a kid as well and knowing about soap operas, what, All My Children, One Life to Live, As the World Turns, just to name a few off the top of my head, because, let's say you had to stay at your auntie's house or your grandparents' house, and they would watch their stories. I mean, that's what they call them. I got to watch my stories, and I'll be following along. And I think as I got older, I just fell out of it because those series have been going on for so many years that if you miss one season or two, it feels like you missed them all. I remember back in the day, like I was born in 91, so some of these episodes I might have saw as reruns, but I think John Stamos, Uncle Jesse from Full House, I believe he was in one of those dramas. I forgot which one. I think it was General Hospital. But at the same time, what really shocked me, and this is why I wish my battery in the iPod was working. If I could go back to the career fair, what I wish I would have done was to record some of the students who said, I love the haves and the have-nots, and they were telling me who their favorite characters were. That would have been a cool thing to put together in like a video montage, and then have the cast members of the show see that. Because one thing that really shocked me about being at the career fair, that there were a couple of people that said they recognized me from YouTube. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like literally, I don't think I've ever had that reaction before. It's like one girl's like, yeah, I know you. I'm like, from where? You're from YouTube, your channel? And I'm like, wait, what do I talk about? I forgot. And I'm thinking to myself, I got the banner right there. I thought she was going to look down. So I don't know if that meant she really knew who I was or if I looked like somebody else. But I know one girl's like, oh, we had about a 4-minute conversation. And at the end of the conversation, she's like, you look like you could be on TV or something. I'm like, oh, dang, that's pretty cool. So, you know, that was a cool day, not just to meet with the kids, but, you know, just to hopefully inspire them to get the gears going in regards to starting their own channels. And there are several people who have written down their YouTube channels, their Instagrams, their Snapchats. So there are at least 25 people, my gosh. So I know I said I would give them shout outs, and I am. I'm actually looking at the papers right now where they wrote down everything. They even got some Twitch accounts. So, I mean, some of these names are hard to read due to handwriting, and others I don't want to butcher their names. So I think the safest thing for me to do is I'm actually going to have screenshots of these individuals, like the YouTube channels and whatnot. And for people with Snapchat, I'll probably just have one photo, you know, with the Snapchat logo, and then I'll type up all their names. That way, you know, to follow them on there. So I think this is the safest way for me to avoid like a 30-minute montage of me just shouting out names and getting them wrong. So kids, I'm giving you the shout outs non-verbally, but your intel is going to be up here on the screen for however long it takes there. So what I'll do is I'll just keep talking here, and when it gets to the point where I run out of things to say or I run out of screenshots, that's where the video ends. But let me just talk about some of the greatest things about it. So just being at the career fair, I felt like, you know, I haven't stepped foot inside of a middle school since I left middle school after 8th grade back in 20, I want to say maybe 2000. Okay, I graduated high school in 2009. Then you subtract 4 years, that's 2005. So one could assume that would be probably the spring of 2004. Yeah, I think 2004, 2005. Pretty much that was the last time I stepped into a middle school. That's when I was stepping out of middle school. So I remember that. And being in the gym was pretty cool too. You know, the fact that, wow, I haven't stepped inside of a gym like this in a while. Like, you know, not counting Liberty University, you know, like the basketball gym and all that stuff. I mean, like a middle school gym, setting up the tables, just, you know, looking around. And I think what really freaked me out about the day the most was the fact that they had the bells and whatnot for tardies and whatnot. That freaked me out. Like, I never got a tardy when I was in school. Even when I did, it was excused tardy for various reasons, either because there was a malfunction in the bell system, or because if I had to walk from the buildings outside of, because when I was in middle school, Halifax County, they were like these outside buildings, like these trailer units that some classes took place in. So you would have to go from that building inside of the main building, however many flights of stairs to get to your designated point. Dang, I don't miss those days. That was crazy. But at the same time, you know, I got goosebumps every time I heard a bell go off. I'm like, oh, snap, I'm going to be late for something. So that was pretty interesting. But time flew by. I remember, you know, the event started like, well, I got there, got set up around 8:20, and I was there until like noon. But time flew by because of the fact that, you know, it was so fun, you know, interacting with so many different people. And not only that, you know, some people are telling me how their YouTube had a couple hundred or a couple thousand subscribers. And I'm like, you're off to a great start. And one thing I really wanted to drive home to the students was the fact that you can start now. Like, I'm not just here promoting something because I'm a free agent, if you will. Like, I do this stuff my own. Like, own the company, well, the TV network that the Haves and the Have-Nots is on, Tyler Perry Studios, where they write, create, produce the Haves and the Have-Nots. Tyler Perry himself, none of them are in affiliation with me. I'm pretty much just a major fan of this one franchise, and I talk about it on my channel. So one thing I wanted to drive home is the point that I am just a regular person like everyone else. Like, I'm not here sponsoring some, because some people walked up to the table. Oh, do you write for the show? Are you a cast member? No, I am just a major fan. So I just wanted to really let people know and make them aware that, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Because this was not in my game plan of what to do for a living. This was never my goal. It was something that just happened. And I was lucky enough to have this get to the point where I can up and leave my call center job at Liberty University and do this for a full-time gig for a living. And thankfully, you know, we're in February 2019, and today on the 10th, the channel hit 64,000 subscribers, which is great. But last year this time, I had a little over 18,000. So that just shows you that with time, hard work, and dedication, you can actually make your channel grow. And like I said, I made that playlist on the channel called How to YouTube. At this point, there are 4 videos on it, but several people have been asking me more questions. So I'll definitely create, you know, part 5, 6, 7, and beyond. But I just wanted to lay out my backstory, how I got started, what kind of things I used. And I also saw a lot of people impressed with the, hey, what's that? When I told them about my snowball microphone that I had on the table as well. I mean, you can get it at Best Buy or Walmart for like $40. If memory serves, I believe I got my first mic on Amazon. You know, Amazon Prime, you gotta love it. But I did get a replacement at, I think, Amazon. Oh yeah, it was Amazon, because you can get them at Best Buy and Walmart, but I got both of mine at Amazon just because I had a discount as well as getting the warranty on it. So yeah, I got mine both from Amazon Prime. But at the same time, you know, Audacity, Windows Movie Maker, there were some students who were blowing my mind away. I think some of the 6th graders, like, I think at least 20 people asked me, do you know about Cutie Pie, as well as like these other different YouTubers? And I'm like, I don't really know them, but they are some like the big time YouTubers, and they're doing gaming. That's one thing I don't do. I mean, I know it is successful, but my attitude is like, I'd rather stick with one thing. Well, not just one thing, but I'd rather stick to stuff I know. Like, I know video games, but at the same time, you know, I'm more inclined to talk about these kind of series that make me think, you know, just being in the mindset of looking into the mysteries of these soap operas and dramas. I feel like, you know, one, I've always felt like Batman doing this, you know, looking for clues and things people miss, and then try to come up with these theories and see what happens in the long run. But at the same time, you know, that has ruined things for me, because it is very difficult for me to watch any kind of TV show or movie with friends or by myself without being critical of it, or at least at the very least figuring out the plot within the first few minutes. There was a time, this happened like 2 years ago, me and a girl were watching a movie. I believe it was called The Intern. I think Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro starred in it. It was actually a pretty good film. I just picked it up last month in the 374 bin at Walmart. And I was over at her apartment. And no, this isn't a PG-13 and above rated story. This is pretty much how it happened. I was over at her apartment. We were watching the movie because she had seen it one time. It was like, this is a great film, let's watch it together. Within the first 7 minutes, I predicted the exact plot of the film, and I got a pillow to the face because she was mad at me. It's like, for once in your life, can you just not analyze something and just enjoy it? Yeah, she was mad at me about 30 minutes, but, you know, we watched the rest of the film. It was good. So, yeah, the haves and the have-nots has done as much good for my life as bad, because it really is hard for me to just, like, not look at something and try to predict it. But is it my fault that the movie plot was predictable, or was it my fault? Or, you know, it's hard to tell, but either way, it was a good time. I mean, I watched the movie since I bought it. It's pretty good. But at the same time, again, if you do something so many times, it becomes second nature. Same thing with video games, hand-eye coordination. It is actually very true. One time, this happened 2017, right before I quit my job, matter of fact. Long story short, I was on my way home, you know, to visit, and the neighbors drove his golf cart into the driver's side of my car. He wasn't looking where he was going, and I dodged a power line. Well, you know, the power pole that leads up to the power line. My car went skidding, and I was literally headed for the pole and probably would have died, but I was able to swerve out of the way just in time into the ditch, ruining the passenger side of the car, but insurance paid for everything because it wasn't my fault. How did I learn to do that? Grand Theft Auto. And that isn't a movie reference. That is literally it. And of course, you know, praise God, I didn't get injured, but it's one of those things where if you are focused on what you're doing, there is a good chance you will avoid all obstacles. And even when you get hit with an obstacle, you can make your way out. So yeah, video games are awesome. But at the same time, I do believe some of the, I'd say that a couple of teachers as well as other adults who might have been visiting for the career day, they were talking to me, and one thing is like, I have a kid or I have my husband and whatnot, and they say they want to do YouTube, and more specifically younger people, they were saying, so just so I know, did you get your degree to do this? I'm like, yeah, I got my high school degree. I went to graduate school and everything. But in regards to YouTube, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I definitely say listen to your teachers. I know there's a lot of stuff when you're young, you feel like you don't need to be told anything, and there are things that agitate you. Look, I get it. Like I'm 27, so if the students from the school are listening to this message, you probably think he's just another adult trying to tell me what to do. Not really, because I'm pretty much a kid at heart, but at the same time, I just want to instill in you that, look, I'm a YouTuber, but at the same time, there are a lot of principles I learned as a kid that I still use today. Like, I grew up in Sunday school, you know, Baptist church. I don't know about you, but I come from one of those families. We live in the middle of nowhere in South Boston, Virginia, more specifically Clover, Virginia, which, if you know about the area, is literally in the middle of the woods. Went to the Black Baptist church 10 minutes away from the house, and you know, Sunday school, you learn a lot of lessons from that. Then, you know, just growing up in public school, you see a lot of things. And then when you get to the workforce, you learn things there. So those lessons about not being tardy, always being on time, being respectful, making meaningful connections, beware of the company you keep. Don't really surround yourself by people that bring you down instead of lift you up. And also something you'll learn as you grow older. And this was something that held true when I made the transition from middle school to high school back in the day, pretty much from 8th grade to 9th grade when I went to high school. I know some high schools have it differently or middle schools have it differently, where 8th grade is either in the high school or some along those lines. But in any case, what I'm trying to say is you will see your friend group probably decrease, because once you really hit, I mean, it's hard enough making the transition from 6th grade to 7th. I mean, in my area where I grew up, pre-K through 6 was pretty much in the same school. I mean, we had like 2 different elementary schools, but, you know, and then middle school was 7, 8, and then high school was 9, 10, 11, 12. So making the transition from elementary to middle school, you, for the most part, keep the same friends, but, you know, puberty kicks in, and then people find their different cliques. They're really trying to find themselves. Then when you get to high school, that's when those cliques really set in, where I'm going to make a reference, High School Musical, the whole like stick with the status quo. And I never thought I'd be quoting High School Musical in these videos, but it's true. People do. You got the athletes, you got the popular girls, you got the goth kids, you got the skater boys, you got the cool kids, you know, you got the black table, the white table, the Hispanic table. It really does happen like that. You got the nerds and whatnot. It's really, that's how it is. I mean, that is society. Even when you graduate, go to college, college is a bit more laid back, but at the same time, you know, people, you know, it's not uncommon to float towards social groups that you're more comfortable with. Same thing when you get to the workforce. You got the people who are butt kissers, and you have the people who are just there to do their jobs, and you have the people who are trying to be friendly with everyone. So that never really changes. But at the core, just know that everyone who's riding with you now won't be with you when you reach the end of the road, so to speak. And that's why I try to tell some students, like, hey, I know that it's common sometimes for, you know, YouTubers to have like a unit where they work with other people, but be wary of that, because sometimes business and friendships don't really link up, especially when it gets to the point where your YouTube channel really starts to blow up and get successful. Some people might branch off and do their own thing. And I think I told a few kids, like, if you watch the New Edition story on BET, then you know what I'm talking about, where New Edition was a group, then, you know, Bobby went, you know, renegade, then, you know, Ralph wanted to go solo, and then you had BBD, and then you had Johnny Gill and all this stuff. It's all good when it's peaches and cream, but when the funk hits the fan, everybody wants to end up doing their own thing when ego gets in the way. So be wary if you are working with others. I'm not going to lie. I would love to collaborate with different YouTubers, not just for the sake of getting my numbers up, but also to really experience what it's like to talk with other people who are interested in what I'm, you know, trying to talk about, kind of thing. And you swap ideas around. And let's see, we're about 17 minutes in, so I'm pretty sure at this point all the shout outs should have been on the screen at some point, so that's great. But something else I wanted to point out before I ended this video is the fact that what I really liked about the day was just seeing that young people are very, very intelligent. I mean, once again, it was blowing my mind away when there were kids telling me stuff about YouTube that it took me months to find out. You know, like I said, I'm still a student of YouTube. I mean, when I left my job, I made sure that I was making enough money to make a living off of. But at the same time, I was aware that, okay, this is something that is an ever-changing platform. I need to adapt. I need to study it. So even when you cross the stage of graduation, you still will always have homework, whether it be studying the career field that you're in at the moment, whether it is learning about a new platform or software. Because one question that really came up is, how did you learn how to do all this stuff? It was self-taught. Like, I mean, we live in a day and age where you can Google how to almost anything. And then there are YouTube videos about different softwares and whatnot. It's just a matter of taking the time to learn this stuff. So I said, like, hey, when you finish your homework and whatnot, instead of, you know, scrolling on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot, take the time to study these people who do YouTube for a living. Take the time to watch videos on how to use video editing software. Save up your money or ask your parents for that $40 microphone I was telling you about, the Snowball, you can get from Best Buy or Walmart, because you can literally invest in your future right now. I don't know what YouTube is going to look like 3 months, 6 months, or a year from now, because things could drastically change in regards to how things are done. And I was talking with the students about how last year they changed the algorithm where you need at least 1,000 subscribers as well as 10,000 plus watch hours of time on your channel in order to get monetization. So it's going to stink at first because you're going to be working on videos as much as you can, but you're not going to be making a dime until you reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. And even then, you know, you have to watch out for things like copyright and demonetization on your videos. So it is a struggle to get started, but once the ball starts rolling, that's when you're really going to find your stride. And, you know, you won't be as time consuming with YouTube. You'll be more confident in, like, okay, I could put out one great video and get a lot of views and things of that nature. Because in regards to the question of how much time do you spend working on YouTube, it varies. And like I said, I do eBay on the side as well. And if you haven't done so already, check out the link in the description below, because this morning I listed over 70 items on my eBay store, free shipping on everything. But in any case, just make sure that you use your time wisely. I feel like that's the best message I can give anyone in regards to YouTube, because once again, you're in middle school now. Work on it when you can. Study your math. Like, you know, make sure you know how to, you know, add, subtract the numbers, count, not just with counting up your subscribers and views, but making sure your monetization comes in right. English, you know, in regards to how to communicate effectively with others. And I don't know what kind of computer classes they have in school now, but I know that kids nowadays in kindergarten are learning about iPads and whatnot. I know my nephew was when he was in kindergarten, year or so ago. I think he's in first grade now. So yeah, sheesh. Kids grow up so fast nowadays. So with that being said, it was definitely a privilege to be at Sandusky Middle School talking with the kids in regards to YouTube. Hope everybody enjoyed the shout outs, and everybody I gave shout outs to in the video due to the visuals. I hope you all get a lot of numbers in regards to subscribers, followers, whatever the case may be. And just talk with other people in the school. Like, hey, do you have a YouTube channel? See if you can collaborate. And maybe if you don't, you know, collaborate a lot because you have channels with different ideas, or you do collaborate because you want to make like funny videos and whatnot, then go for it. But I'd say that you can really learn a lot from each other, because really for me, it was a lot of self-taught work. But at the same time, talking creates conversation. Conversation leads to ideas and brainstorming. And next thing you know, you could be the next big YouTube channel out there. Like I was saying before, there are literally young kid, like legitimate kids out there, and I mean kids, with these YouTube channels reviewing toys and whatnot, making millions of dollars. So yeah, anybody can do it. Just be consistent, find something that you're passionate about talking about, learn about it as much as you can, treat it like a job. That way you're making money before you get up to the age where you can like work, you know, when you're 16 and whatnot. And yeah, so with that being said, appreciate everyone for coming to the table, talk with me about the haves and the have-nots, YouTube, and everything else in between. Be sure to check out the playlist I made, How to YouTube, where I go over, you know, how I got started, as well as various other tips. Let me know in the comment section below, are there any other questions you might have had about YouTube and what I do that you may not have had answered at the career fair. And yeah, we can go from there. So if I get enough comments about various questions and whatnot, I'll most likely do more videos to add to the How to YouTube playlist. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you don't watch the haves and the have-nots, but you have family members who do, lead them to the channel. Just tell them, hey, this guy, I met him at the middle school. He does YouTube about the haves and the have-nots. Check him out, because once again, 100,000 subscribers is my long-term goal. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen after that. That doesn't mean I'm quitting the channel. It's just like at this very moment, aside from finding out a way to, pay off student loans, getting that 100,000 subscriber mark is my long-term goal to, pretty much solidify that not only did I make the right choice with quitting my job to do this, but also it feels like to me personally, it would be like a rite of passage. Like I have a physical item to represent the hard work I put into this YouTube channel, because don't get me wrong, the money is great. I'm able to pay bills, put money away from savings or retirement, all that good stuff. But at the same time, that award is like going to be the holy grail, the crown jewel, the diploma, if you will, for getting this channel to that milestone. And of course, the next button after that, I believe, is goal for 1 million subscribers. I'm not saying I don't want to reach that, but baby steps. And 100,000 isn't a baby step in itself, but keep in mind, when I first quit my job, I only had about 10,000 subscribers. So getting a blessing of a 10 times multiplier is certainly a long-term goal. So I feel like, based off the math, we should be hitting 100,000 probably late summer, early fall, but I would love to hit 100,000 before August 29th. That's my birthday. That's when I turn 28. So I would love to hit that goal before then. So with that being said, that's really all I have to say on this matter, but I will edit this video. Hopefully it will be up on the channel before Wednesday of this upcoming week, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks so much for making it to the end of this video. Be sure to click the thumbs up button if you like what you just saw. And if you have anything you would like to add to the video itself, go down to the comment section below and type out your thoughts. And I also have social media related to the haves and have-nots: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page, Facebook group. Links to everything will be in the description below. And if you like action figures, video games, and trading cards, I have an eBay store as well, where there's free shipping on everything. But I also have a second YouTube channel that I'm working on, where I talk about things that are non-Tyler Perry related, such as anime, superhero shows and movies, music, pop culture, and sometimes political news, depending on what the circumstances are. Be sure to check out that channel as well. In the top left-hand corner, you should see a picture of Candace Young. You can click on her to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. And if you like the video you just saw, be sure to check out the other 2 videos that should be popping up on the right-hand side. Trust me, if you like this video, you'll love them too. Once again, thanks so much for visiting my YouTube channel, and I'll talk to you in the next video.